Let me start with a few questions. How many of us have found ourselves in a situation where we were just trying to understand someone strong-willed, independent, and, well, downright resilient, maybe even to the point that it left us a bit speechless? Have you ever wondered, how do I connect with someone who's so focused, so confident, and so sure of themselves? In today's world, we see more and more women embodying these traits that can make relationships as fascinating as they are challenging. Today, I'd like to delve into this topic through the lens of Acharya Chanakya's teachings. Now, Chanakya was known for his strategies and understanding of human behavior, and his insights can offer us timeless wisdom on dealing with strong personalities. Let's explore how his teachings can help us navigate relationships with women who are ambitious, self-reliant, and assertive, qualities that are essential in today's world, but sometimes leave others around them searching for the best way to connect. Chapter 1. Understanding Individual Strengths. Let's start with something fundamental. Understanding individual strengths. Chanakya emphasized that true wisdom comes from seeing a person for who they are rather than trying to mold them into someone else. Imagine you're in a relationship or friendship with someone who has an incredible focus on their goals and a strong sense of independence. It's easy to feel intimidated or even feel a desire to manage them. But here's the thing. These qualities are not meant to be handled. They're meant to be appreciated. I recently heard a story about a friend who was dating a woman who owned her own business. She was driven, confident, and managed her time strictly. He initially struggled, feeling left out when her work took precedence. But when he started to see her dedication as a strength rather than a barrier, everything changed. He began asking about her goals, listening to her vision, and showing genuine interest in her work. This simple shift in perspective, understanding her unique strengths, allowed him to support her better and grow closer to her. So the first step is to respect and appreciate the person as they are. Instead of seeing strong will as something difficult, view it as a quality worth learning from. Today's relationships can be more balanced when both partners respect each other's unique strengths. Chapter 2. Practicing Patience and Restraint. Moving on to the second principle, one that's all too often overlooked. Patience. Chanakya taught that patience and restraint are the true tests of character, especially when dealing with someone strong-minded. It's natural to want to react, defend, or even challenge a resilient person's opinions. But there's immense power in slowing down, taking a breath, and choosing to listen first. Consider a scenario. Let's say you're discussing future plans with a partner who's got everything meticulously planned out. She has her career timeline, her personal goals, and a structured way of achieving them. If you immediately jump in with your own ideas or concerns without fully understanding hers, it can lead to unnecessary tension. Instead, try listening patiently, without feeling the need to jump to conclusions. I know a couple where the husband shared that his wife is highly career-focused and has mapped out the next 5 years of her life. At first, he felt insecure, wondering where he fit into this carefully crafted vision. Instead of reacting, he chose to practice patience and ask her more about her goals. This simple act of restraint, of choosing to listen rather than react, allowed him to understand her vision and to support her with genuine interest. This approach not only brought them closer, but also eliminated any feelings of competition. Patience and restraint are gifts you give to both yourself and the relationship. In today's fast-paced world, taking the time to understand each other's ambitions and motivations is invaluable. Chapter 3. Communicating with Authenticity. Lastly, let's talk about the power of communication, particularly honest and sincere communication. Chanakya always valued authenticity over empty words or insincere gestures, and this holds true in today's relationships. Strong, independent people don't want to be flattered with shallow compliments. They want real, meaningful exchanges where words align with actions. I know a colleague who was dating a woman deeply committed to her career in environmental policy. She was sharp, and she could see through any insincerity in a heartbeat. He told me that when he first started dating her, He felt pressured to act like he knew everything about environmental policy just to impress her. But over time, he realized that trying to come across as something he wasn't earning him any points. He decided to just be honest with her, admitted that he didn't know much about her field, but he was eager to learn. This authenticity strengthened their connection because it showed her that he respected her intelligence and was genuinely interested in her as a person, not just her achievements. Communicating with authenticity involves showing up as your true self and speaking from a place of honesty rather than just saying what you think someone wants to hear. In conclusion, the first 3 steps that Chanakya would suggest for connecting with a strong, independent woman in today's world are understanding her strengths, practicing patience, and communicating authentically. Rather than seeing these qualities as obstacles, view them as opportunities for growth and understanding. By respecting these qualities in others, we ultimately enrich our own lives and foster a bond that is built on respect and equality. Now that we've laid the foundation with the first 3 principles of Chanakya's wisdom, understanding individual strengths, practicing patience, and communicating with authenticity, let's dive into the next 3 principles that can help us cultivate deeper, more respectful connections with strong, independent women in today's world. Chapter 4. Respecting her independence. This next principle is one that Chanakya would undoubtedly emphasize for modern relationships: respecting someone's independence. Strong-willed individuals, especially women who have dedicated themselves to building a career, pursuing personal goals, or developing their own interests, often value independence as one of their core traits. In a world where more and more women are excelling in various fields, respecting her autonomy isn't just polite, it's essential. Imagine a scenario where your partner has a hectic schedule, filled with work commitments, projects, and maybe even some late nights. It's easy to feel like you're being sidelined, or to worry that you're less important in her life. But instead of trying to seek constant reassurance or feel entitled to her time, consider respecting her independence and supporting her need for space. I once spoke to a man who was dating a successful consultant who traveled often for work. Initially, he found it challenging. He felt distanced by her frequent travel and tight schedules. But when he started respecting her independence and cheering her on from a distance, he found that she naturally began sharing more with him. Her challenges, her excitement, and her dreams. Rather than demanding more time or attention, his respect for her autonomy allowed her to bring him into her world on her own terms. In today's society, a relationship that thrives is one where each person can fully express their individuality and pursue their own goals. Respecting her independence is a mark of maturity and a sign of your genuine interest in seeing her thrive as an individual. Chapter 5. Practicing empathy and emotional intelligence. The next point touches on something Chanakya also valued deeply: empathy and emotional intelligence. Chanakya believed that understanding another person's inner world is key to creating harmony in relationships, and this rings especially true when relating to someone with a strong personality. It's not just about understanding her words, but about understanding her underlying emotions, ambitions, and perhaps even her insecurities. Let's say your partner or friend has a very intense day at work. Maybe she comes home exhausted, not particularly wanting to talk about it. An empathetic response might be to give her the space she needs and let her know that you're there whenever she's ready to share. Instead of pressing for details or asking why she's so tense, sometimes a simple, "Let me know if you want to talk," can work wonders. This response shows that you recognize her needs without crowding her. Emotional intelligence means being aware of not only her feelings but also your own. It means setting aside your ego to respond to her needs and moods in a way that makes her feel understood. I remember a couple who faced this exact situation. The wife had a demanding job, and on her difficult days, she needed space more than words. Once her husband learned to approach her with empathy rather than frustration, they avoided many potential conflicts. Eventually, she felt more open to share because she knew he understood her needs. Emotional intelligence and empathy create an atmosphere of trust, where both people feel understood. And as Chanakya taught, relationships grounded in mutual understanding are resilient in the face of challenges. Chapter 6. Encouraging open dialogue on conflicting opinions. Now let's talk about the importance of open dialogue, especially when opinions differ. Chanakya believed that healthy debate is the foundation of intellectual growth and respect. He saw differing opinions not as obstacles but as opportunities to sharpen the mind and broaden perspectives. In any relationship, but especially with someone who has a strong character, it's vital to foster an environment where open, respectful conversations can take place without fear of judgment or anger. Imagine a conversation where you and your partner disagree about a significant life decision. Maybe it's about moving to a new city, a career change, or even something smaller like how to spend your weekends. Instead of pushing your view as the only valid one, consider creating a space where both perspectives can be heard and valued. Acknowledging her perspective, even if it's vastly different from yours, shows that you respect her intellect and her right to have her own ideas. There's an example I'd like to share from a friend of mine who was in a relationship where they often clashed on their future plans. While he was more focused on settling down, she was keen on exploring further studies abroad. Instead of making it a me versus you scenario, he opened up a dialogue, asking her to share her vision and why it was important to her. This act of respecting her point of view led to a deeper understanding between them, and together they were able to find a solution that honored both their dreams. Encouraging open dialogue means seeing disagreements as chances to learn more about each other's values, goals, and dreams. In the spirit of Chanakya's teachings, these respectful discussions don't just resolve issues. They bring people closer by building an atmosphere of mutual respect and trust. So, to sum up, these next 3 principles from Chanakya's teachings, respecting her independence, practicing empathy, and encouraging open dialogue, are powerful tools for building strong, lasting connections with the remarkable women in our lives. In today's world, where we're constantly evolving and redefining what relationships look like, these principles help us move beyond traditional roles and towards partnerships built on genuine understanding and respect. Let's delve into these last 3 elements that can further enrich our relationships, particularly with strong, independent women. Chapter 7. Demonstrate your own strengths. Let's move to the next point. Demonstrating your own strengths. Chanakya was a firm believer in leading by example and showing one's capabilities without bragging. He believed that when individuals bring their own strengths to the table, they create mutual respect and admiration. In relationships, a strong, independent woman will respect a partner who is confident, competent, and brings their own unique skills and resilience. Consider a situation where your partner is incredibly driven in her career or personal ambitions. Instead of feeling intimidated by her achievements, focus on developing your own goals and sharing them with her. One couple I know shared this dynamic. The wife was a successful architect, and her husband initially felt overshadowed by her achievements. But rather than withdrawing or feeling insecure, he chose to invest in his own passions. He built a small business from the ground up. By demonstrating his own resilience and strength, he not only earned her admiration, but also inspired her in return. Their relationship grew stronger as they became a team of equals, each supporting the other's success. In today's partnerships, equality is essential, and this principle of showing up as your strongest self encourages mutual respect. By pursuing your passions and demonstrating your own resilience, you're adding value to the relationship, creating a bond based on mutual admiration. Chapter 8. Building trust with consistency. Next, let's talk about the importance of trust and consistency. Chanakya taught that trust isn't built in a day, but through consistent actions over time. He believed that relationships, whether personal or professional, require reliability and follow-through. In a world where people are often busy and commitments can feel overwhelming, showing up consistently for someone is one of the most impactful ways to build trust. Imagine you've made a commitment to support your partner's goals, such as helping with a project, attending an event, or simply being there when things get tough. Following through on these commitments might seem small, but they create a foundation of reliability. I remember a friend who was dating a woman pursuing a demanding career in medicine. Her schedule was tight, and she often couldn't make time for spontaneous plans. Instead of complaining, he chose to show up in small ways, like bringing her meals during late shifts or being there to listen when she needed to unwind. Over time, his consistency made her feel supported, and she knew she could rely on him no matter what. Building trust through consistency is one of the most powerful ways to strengthen any relationship. In today's world, where things can feel uncertain, knowing that someone is there for you consistently is incredibly comforting. As Chanakya would say, it's in our actions, not our words, that true reliability is shown. Chapter 9. Supporting Growth and Adaptability. Finally, let's discuss supporting growth and adaptability. Chanakya believed that life is full of change, and to thrive, we must be open to evolving along with it. In relationships, this means encouraging each other's growth and understanding that personal development is a natural, essential part of life. Especially when relating to a strong individual, supporting her journey, even if it leads to change, shows true respect and love. Think of a scenario where your partner decides she wants to make a major career shift, pursue further studies, or take on a new role that might require significant adjustments in your shared life. Supporting her in these ambitions, rather than feeling threatened or resentful, is a sign of maturity and adaptability. I know a couple who went through this exact situation. The wife decided she wanted to go back to school, which meant sacrifices in their lifestyle and changes in their daily routine. Instead of pushing back, her husband encouraged her, recognizing that her growth would ultimately benefit them both. Not only did this support deepen their bond, but it also strengthened her resolve to succeed. Adaptability and support for each other's personal growth are hallmarks of a resilient relationship. In a world that's constantly shifting, being able to evolve together, rather than holding each other back, allows the partnership to thrive and creates a sense of freedom and encouragement within the relationship. To summarize, these final 3 principles, demonstrating your own strengths, building trust through consistency, and supporting growth and adaptability, round out Chanakya's timeless wisdom for building meaningful connections. As we face modern challenges and opportunities in our relationships, these principles remind us that respect, reliability, and adaptability are the keys to a strong, lasting bond. By understanding each other's strengths, practicing empathy and patience, communicating openly, and supporting each other's growth, we create relationships that are not only resilient but deeply fulfilling. Acharya Chanakya's teachings may be centuries old, but their relevance to our relationships today is undeniable. Let us strive to build connections that honor these values, creating bonds that are built on mutual respect, trust, and true understanding. Thank you.